My name is Josephine Turner. I'm 33 and I work in finance. On paper, my life is very spreadsheet, predictable numbers, balanced columns, risk calculated in decimal points. In reality, my life changed because of a single audio recording that wasn't even mine. It was my boyfriend's. Alex Morrison, also 33, also in finance, was the most methodical man I'd ever met. Steady, polite, the kind of guy who remembers your coffee order after one date. When we first got serious, we did that late night sharing secrets thing you do in the dark when you're lying side by side, watching shadows crawl across the ceiling. That's when he said it. She laughed and told me, "I only married you for the visa. Once I get my citizenship next month, I'm leaving you for my real boyfriend." I thought he was joking, some kind of dark humor. He wasn't. He followed it up with, I said, "Thanks for the heads up." Then I sent the recording of that conversation to immigration with a withdrawal of sponsorship form. ICE detained her at her citizenship interview. He said it so calmly that my brain stalled. My boyfriend had casually mentioned getting his ex-wife detained by immigration the way other men mention getting a parking ticket. That story is what I'm about to tell you. Because before Alex became my boyfriend, he was someone else's easiest pathway into the United States. Back then, Alex wasn't looking for anything complicated. 33, comfortable income, decent-looking guy who worked out. Nothing flashy. As he put it, I wasn't some desperate dude who needed to import a wife. He'd been sent to a work conference in Miami 3 years earlier, beige carpeting, endless PowerPoint slides, lukewarm coffee. He was counting the hours until his flight home when she walked in. Svetlana Morozova. Everyone called her Lana. She was there with her company's delegation, a Russian tech firm expanding into the U.S. market. Smart, charming. That effortless foreign accent that made everything sound interesting. She joked about jet lag and American food portions. He made a dry comment about their company's stock performance. She laughed harder than the joke deserved. They hit it off, shared drinks after panels, talked about culture shock, careers, books. She was funny, quick, and bright in a way that cut through the conference fog. By the last day, they'd exchanged numbers. What was supposed to be nice to meet you, have a safe flight, turned into long-distance calls, late-night texts, and good morning messages in 2 time zones. For 6 months, they lived out a modern postcard romance. Weekends spent in each other's cities when they could afford the flights. Airport reunions, rushed dinners, the fantasy of 2 lives trying to braid together across borders. It felt real, Alex told me. It felt like I'd stumbled into something big. Then reality knocked. Her work visa was expiring. She'd have to go back to Russia. They talked about it for weeks. Every time, the same conclusion. They didn't want to stop seeing each other, but long distance across an ocean? That wasn't a temporary inconvenience. That was a lifestyle. One night, she brought up marriage, not with violins and fairy lights, with spreadsheets and practicalities. If we're serious, she said, marriage would solve the visa problem, but only if you want to. No pressure. Alex thought about it. They got along. They had chemistry. He could picture a future with her. He told me he rationalized it like this. We'd have gotten married eventually anyway, right? We were just speeding things up. So they did it. It wasn't some gigantic wedding. Just them and 2 witnesses, a small ceremony, signatures on government paper. She got her conditional green card, the kind you get when you've been married less than 2 years. And the rules were simple. Stay married and wait 3 years from that conditional card before she could apply for citizenship. That was 3 years ago. Alex always smiles a little bitterly when he describes the first year. Honestly, it was good. Really good. They traveled. Weekend trips. Inside jokes. They decorated the apartment together. She worked remotely for her tech company. He went into the office. Standard 9-to-5 stability. They cooked together, argued about thermostat settings, shared a Netflix account. Newlywed normal. Year 2, things shifted. At first, nothing big, nothing you could pin down. Lana was on her phone more. Always work stuff. She'd stay up late at her laptop with the blue glow on her face, headphones in. When Alex asked what she was listening to, she'd wave him off. Just music, podcasts, you'd be bored. She started going out more. Drinks with friends from the Russian community. When he asked who they were, she was vague. When he offered to come along, she laughed and said, "You wouldn't understand anything. We talk too fast. It's nice for me to speak my own language, you know." And it made sense. She was in a new country. Wanting people who understood her background wasn't suspicious by itself. Alex wasn't a jealous type. He prided himself on being trusting, not controlling. Then came year 3. That's when it stopped feeling like a marriage and started feeling like a waiting room. She spent entire weekends visiting friends in New York, girls' trips to Vegas, the kind of plans that were always made last minute, always hard to explain in detail. When he suggested coming along once, she shut it down. No, it's a girl's thing. You'd be miserable. Stay, rest. You work too much anyway. He told me I wasn't clingy. She could have her own life. But there was this pattern. She wasn't inviting me into it. 2 months before everything exploded, Lana got a letter. Her citizenship interview was scheduled. 3 years since she'd gotten her conditional green card. She was now eligible. She was more excited about that than she'd been about anything in months. Alex helped her study. They sat at the kitchen table, citizenship test flashcards between them. How many amendments are there to the Constitution, he'd ask. 27, she'd say, eyes bright. What is the supreme law of the land? The Constitution, she'd answer, barely glancing at the card. She aced every practice test, knew every answer. At night, she lay in bed scrolling on her phone while he mentally ran through mortgage payments and retirement plans, trying to imagine life once this immigration chapter was finally behind them. The interview was set for 4 weeks away. He thought they were preparing for a shared future. She was preparing for something else. The moment everything changed started out ordinary. Alex came home early from work that day with a pounding headache. He just wanted darkness and silence. He parked in a different spot than usual, grabbed his briefcase, and trudged upstairs, already planning to collapse on the couch. As he opened the apartment door, he heard Lana. She was in the bedroom, door almost closed, speaking in rapid Russian, laughing. He didn't speak Russian, never bothered to learn. She spoke perfect English, and he'd told himself that was enough. But he knew the sound of someone being flirtatious, even in a language he didn't understand. The tone gave it away, he said. It wasn't a work voice. It was intimate, comfortable. He froze in the hallway, half in shadow. The call went on for 20 minutes. Lots of laughing, long pauses, the kind of pauses you fill with soft words. Then he heard his own name. Alex! He didn't understand the rest, but the way she said it, light, dismissive, made his skin prickle. That's when he did something completely out of character. He pulled out his phone, opened the voice recorder, held it up toward the bedroom door, and hit record. He captured the last 5 minutes of that conversation. Just sound, her voice, the rise and fall, the occasional slip of English. Right before she hung up, she said it. Dada, Poka, love you, in English, clear as a bell, to someone who wasn't her husband. Alex slipped quietly back out of the apartment, then came in again, this time louder. Hey, honey, I'm home, he called out, keys jangling. The door to the bedroom opened. Lana appeared in the hallway, perfectly composed. Oh, hi, you're early, she said lightly. Yeah, headache, I'm going to rest. Okay, feel better, she replied, already turning back toward her laptop, as if nothing unusual had happened. That night, the recording sat in his phone like a live wire. Later, when he told me this part, he shook his head. I could have ignored it, he said. Pretended I was overthinking. But something in me snapped. I needed to know what she was saying when she thought I couldn't understand. So he didn't sleep. Instead, he messaged a coworker, a Russian-speaking guy in accounting named Mikhail, and asked a favor. Can you translate something for me? Just a casual conversation I accidentally recorded. It might be important for work. Mikhail replied, Sure, send it over. Alex hit send on the audio file. The next morning, an email arrived in his inbox with the full translation. He opened it at his desk. Read the first lines, and felt his entire marriage tilt sideways. Alex told me he had to read the translation 3 times before it made sense. The first time, because he didn't believe it. The second time, because he hoped he'd read it wrong. The third time, because he needed to accept that he hadn't. He forwarded it to me once, months later, when we were already together. I remember opening the email, scrolling through the text, feeling my throat close. It began with, Yes, just 1 more month, then I get citizenship and I'm done with this parade. Parade, their marriage, their home, his life. Lana had called it a parade. The translation continued, line after line of disdain she never showed in English. He has no idea. He's so clueless. It's almost sad. He makes good money. The apartment is nice. It's been comfortable, but I'm bored. 4 more weeks. After the interview, I'll tell him. I'll pretend it's not working so it doesn't look suspicious. There were entire paragraphs describing how she played him, how she rolled her eyes behind his back, how she'd reward him with attention when he helped her study, the way you'd pat a dog for sitting on command. I stopped breathing when I reached the last part. Of course I love you. This was always the plan. Get the papers, then come back to you. Tell your mother I'm bringing that chocolate she likes. She wasn't just cheating. She was in a parallel relationship, one her real boyfriend and his mother comfortably approved of. Alex said the room felt too bright, too small. He sat at his desk in a daze, hands cold, the low hum of office printers and phone rings suddenly distorted. I wasn't even heartbroken, he told me. Just offended. Like, I'm a good husband. I'm not rich, but I'm not broke. I'm not a jerk. And she used me like a convenient little stepping stool. That was the moment something clicked inside him. Something sharp, something decisive. He didn't cry. He called a lawyer. The immigration attorney listened to the recording, read the translation, and exhaled sharply. This, he said, tapping the papers with a pen, is textbook marriage fraud. Alex sat there, palms sweating, feeling like he'd stumbled into a crime drama. The lawyer explained everything plainly. Lana had entered the marriage under fraudulent intent. Alex had sponsored her green card in good faith. He was legally the victim, not a collaborator. Reporting her would protect him. Waiting could jeopardize him. What happens if I report it? Alex asked. Her citizenship application will be denied, the lawyer said. Her green card will likely be revoked. She may be placed in removal proceedings, possibly deported. Alex swallowed. And me? You're fine. If you act before her interview, after she gets citizenship, this becomes much harder. How fast can we file? I can have everything ready in 24 hours. Alex didn't hesitate. He wasn't vindictive, he wasn't angry, he was resolved. That night, Lana cooked dinner. Pasta with cream sauce. Her lipstick matched her nails, like it always did. She talked about the upcoming citizenship interview, joked about the test questions, asked what they should do to celebrate afterward. Alex stared at her, hearing her recorded voice in his mind. I just smile and nod. Yes, exactly. 4 more weeks. At one point, she noticed his quietness. Are you okay? She asked, tilting her head. He forced a smile. Work stuff. She accepted it easily. Too easily. He wondered if she had any idea her plan was collapsing under her feet. She didn't. The next day, he met with the lawyer again. Together, they assembled a file thick enough to snap a binder. A written statement about how they met, copies of messages showing their early relationship, the recording itself, the full translation, a timeline of her sudden trips, excuses, and evasions, a list of financial contributions and joint accounts, records of her avoiding transparency for years. When they finished, the lawyer handed Alex the final version. 1 packet to USCIS, 1 to ICE, 1 to the local field office handling Lana's citizenship application. Once these are filed, the lawyer explained, her entire case will be flagged. They'll know before she walks into the interview. Alex nodded. Good, he said quietly. Lana had no clue. For the next 3 weeks, everything at home moved like a movie on mute. She kept studying, kept meeting friends, kept disappearing with vague explanations. At night, she scrolled endlessly on her phone. Sometimes she smiled at messages she never explained. Sometimes she typed rapidly with both thumbs, the screen glowing under the covers. Sometimes she'd send voice messages in Russian, her tone soft in ways Alex hadn't heard directed at him in months. It was like living beside someone who'd already divorced him in her mind. One night, while she was showering, Alex caught himself staring at her phone on the bed. He didn't touch it. He didn't snoop. He didn't need more evidence. He had enough to collapse her world. Still, part of him wondered if he was doing the right thing. Was he ruining a woman's life, or was he protecting his own? The doubt lasted maybe 10 seconds. Then he remembered the line from the translation. Why would I stay? I have what I needed. And the doubt vanished. The morning of the interview, Lana dressed carefully. Professional blouse, neat bun, polished flats. She stood in front of the mirror, practicing answers under her breath. How many amendments? No, that's easy. What is freedom of? No, edge. She was nervous, not about the test. Alex saw it now. She was nervous because everything was about to pay off. She kissed him lightly on the cheek. Wish me luck, she said. Good luck, he replied. She smiled, grabbed her purse, and walked out. Alex watched her go from the living room window, arms crossed, face unreadable. She thought she was walking towards citizenship. He knew she was walking into a federal trap. He called in sick to work, sat on the couch, and waited. At 11:07 a.m., his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Is this Alex Morrison? A voice asked. Yes. This is Officer Chen with ICE. We have your wife in custody. The room went silent. Alex exhaled once. Okay, he said calmly. What happens now? When Alex told me what happened next, he said the strangest part was how calm he felt. Like his brain switched into a mode where emotions were too heavy to lift, so it just powered down. Officer Chen's voice was crisp, practiced, almost gentle. Mr. Morrison, your fraud report was reviewed immediately upon receipt. USCIS flagged your wife's file before her interview. When she arrived, officers on site detained her for questioning. Alex nodded, even though the officer couldn't see him. She's being processed now, Chen continued. We'll need you to provide an in-person statement as soon as possible. When should I come in? Alex asked. Today, if you can. I'll be there. He hung up the phone and just sat there. The morning sun drifted across the living room floor, touching the carpet Lana had picked out. Their framed photos still hung on the entry wall. New York, Miami, hiking in Sedona. Trips she'd probably taken while texting her real boyfriend. He stood, grabbed his jacket, and drove. At the IC office, fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Alex sat across from two agents, while a recorder clicked on the table. They asked for everything. How he met her, when things felt off, why he recorded the call, why he believed she committed fraud, what his intentions were now. Alex answered calmly, blandly almost, like reading minutes from a meeting. When they asked for more evidence, he gave them everything. Bank statements, his calendar documenting her unexplained trips, the original recording, the translation email, even screenshots of her girls' trips and inconsistencies in her stories. Officer Chen skimmed the documents and said, "This is one of the most clear-cut cases we've seen. No gray area here." Alex exhaled through his nose. He didn't feel proud. He didn't feel vindicated. He didn't feel anything. When he left the office, he sat in his car for several minutes, both hands on the wheel, staring at nothing. Then his phone rang, a number from the detention center. He almost let it ring out. But curiosity, human, stupid curiosity, made him swipe accept. A mechanical voice. "You are receiving a call from an inmate at the..." Then her voice. Alex, please, what happened? They arrested me." Her tone wasn't cold or cruel or slick like in the recording. It was frantic, desperate. "Slow down," Alex said, voice flat. "What did they tell you?" "They said you filed something. They said I committed immigration fraud." Her breathing was shaky. "They're saying horrible things. I don't understand. Why would you... Why? Did you marry me for a visa, Lana?" Silence. A long, trembling silence. "That's not... Alex, it's not like that." "I have a recording of you saying exactly that." A sharp inhale. You recorded me?" Her voice twisted. "That's illegal. You can't do that." "It's a one-party consent state," he replied. "And you were in my home. Perfectly legal." "You can't do this to me. We're married." "A marriage you admitted was fake." Her breathing grew ragged. "I am begging you," she said, voice cracking. "I can't go back to Russia. My family, my job. I left everything. I'll be ruined." "You should have thought of that," he said evenly, "before you scammed me for 3 years." "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I made a mistake, but I do care about you. I swear, I do." "No, you don't. You told your boyfriend you couldn't wait to leave me." Silence. He could hear the buzz of fluorescent lights through the phone. Then he said it, the line everything hinged on. "What's his name? The boyfriend you're bringing chocolate to for his mother?" The silence after that could have cracked glass. "How much of that call did you hear?" she whispered. "All of it," he said, "and I had it translated. I gave it to immigration, along with everything else." A strangled noise escaped her, half sob, half gasp. "Alex, please, I'll stay. I'll be a real wife. I'll do anything. Don't let them deport me." "It's too late," he said. "You had 3 years to be a real wife. You chose not to." She sobbed uncontrollably. He hung up while she was still crying. Block the number. Block the detention center. The next morning, another call. New York area code. He answered. "Is this Alex?" A man's voice, thick Russian accent. "Yes? My name is Dmitri. I'm a friend of Lana." Alex snorted. "The boyfriend." Silence, then. "You need to fix this." Alex blinked. "Fix what?" "She doesn't deserve this," Dmitri said sharply. "You Americans don't understand how difficult her situation is. She committed federal fraud. She wanted a better life. So she lied to me, used me, mocked me behind my back?" "You're being petty," Dmitri snapped. "Just tell immigration it was a misunderstanding." "It wasn't a misunderstanding. She literally said, I only married him for the visa." Silence again, longer this time. You have that recorded?" Dmitri finally asked. "Yes." More silence. He didn't sound angry now. He sounded worried. You knew, Alex said quietly. You knew the whole time she was using me. It's complicated, Dmitri muttered. No, it's really not. Alex's voice sharpened. You're both scammers. This will ruin her life, Dmitri started. Goodbye, Dmitri. Alex hung up. Over the next week, the calls came in waves. Numbers he didn't recognize, Russian accents he didn't know, strangers saying he was heartless, cruel, vindictive. He blocked every number. He didn't attend Lana's immigration hearing, but his lawyer kept him updated. She showed up with a pro bono attorney, the lawyer texted. Not going well. She's arguing the marriage was real, but deteriorated naturally. Judge isn't buying it. They're playing your recording now. She's crying. Judge unmoved. Ruling issued. Removal ordered. She has 30 days to depart voluntarily. Alex read the messages one by one, sitting alone at the kitchen table, the same table where he'd helped her study, where she'd laughed at him for getting amendments mixed up, where she'd counted down the days until the interview. He closed his eyes. Lana had 30 days left in the country, 30 days to pack the life she'd always intended to abandon. That night, Alex got one last call from an unknown number. He almost ignored it. He didn't. Alex? Her voice was small, exhausted. What? I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. He didn't respond. I really did like you in the beginning, she whispered. Some of it was real. Could have fooled me. I know you don't believe me, she said, but I wanted you to know that I ruined everything. Dmitri broke up with me. He says I'm too much trouble. Alex let out a slow breath. Of course he did. I leave in 2 weeks, she said softly. Back to Moscow. I have no job there. My parents are disappointed. I don't know what I'll do. You'll figure it out, Alex said. She sniffled. Will you ever forgive me? No. She inhaled sharply. That's fair, she whispered. Goodbye, Alex. She hung up. And that was it. The end of the marriage. The end of the con. The end of the person she pretended to be. Alex sat in the quiet living room, staring at the wall where their photos used to hang. He didn't feel triumph. He didn't feel sadness. He felt free. By the time Lana left the U.S., Alex said the apartment finally smelled like him again. Not her perfume, not her hair products, not the sugary candles she always bought and forgot to blow out. Just him, his life, his space. He watched her final call log disappear from his phone the same day she boarded her flight to Moscow. There was no dramatic goodbye at the airport, no tearful last embrace. She didn't ask to see him, and he didn't offer. After everything, silence was mercy. 2 days later, Alex got the official notice. Lana's green card revoked. Immigration had approved the annulment on grounds of fraud. The marriage wasn't just over, it was legally void, like it had never existed. When he told me this part of the story, he smiled faintly. I changed the locks that afternoon, not for safety, just for symbolism. He boxed up her leftover clothes, scarves, makeup, all the little pieces she never cared enough to reclaim. He took them to Goodwill, didn't keep a single item. Not even a photo? I'd asked. He shook his head. She wasn't in any photo, honestly. She was just wearing the costume. Life for Alex didn't snap back instantly. You don't undo 3 years of deception with paperwork. There were phantom habits, phantom conversations, phantom pauses in the kitchen where he used to prepare 2 plates instead of 1. But there was also peace, more peace than he'd felt in ages. He no longer tiptoed around someone always texting someone else. No more late-night whispers in a language he couldn't understand. No more excuses, vagueness, or pretending not to notice red flags for the sake of harmony. He was alone, but he wasn't lonely. His lawyer called a week after Lana left. You're clear, he said. No liability, no penalties. USCIS marked you as the cooperating victim. Alex exhaled in relief. The lawyer added, one thing, if you ever sponsor another spouse, the process will be scrutinized. They'll want to ensure you're not being defrauded again. Alex didn't miss a beat. I'm not planning on doing this again. The lawyer chuckled. Smart man. A month later, he ran into Mikhail, the co-worker who translated the recording, in the office break room. Mikhail clapped him on the back. Heard what happened, he said. Crazy stuff. Alex nodded. Yeah, it was a lot. My cousin tried the same thing once. Married a guy for papers, Mikhail added. Got caught. Deported. It's more common than people think. Alex grimaced. I know that now. You doing okay? Mikhail asked gently. Actually, yeah. Relieved even. Could have been worse. Imagine if she'd gotten citizenship first. Mikhail whistled. Dodged a missile. Alex smiled. Thanks for helping with the translation. Seriously. Mikhail shrugged. Buy me lunch sometime. Deal. They laughed, and for the first time in a long while, Alex's laugh didn't sound forced. But the part of the story that always gets me, the part Alex didn't tell lightly, is what happened 3 months after everything ended. When I, Josephine Turner, walked into his life. We met through mutual friends, both of us recovering from wildly different disasters. His marriage that imploded under fraud, and my long-term relationship that collapsed under betrayal. It wasn't romance at first. It was two people sitting at a bar talking about everything they'd survived. But something soft grew in the space between our scars. He told me about Lana in pieces, slow, careful, like he was wary of being judged for being fooled. I didn't judge. I believed him. I loved him for how he told the story, without bitterness, without venom, without letting her actions turn him into someone hardened. Most people, after what he went through, would swear off love entirely. Alex didn't. He just learned how to see people clearly. One night, many months later, when we were officially together, he admitted something that stayed with me. I used to think I was clueless, he said. But I wasn't. I was trusting, and she mistook that for stupidity. I reached across the couch, took his hand. Trust is not a flaw, I told him. Trusting the wrong person isn't a failure. It's just a lesson. He nodded slowly. And I learned it, he said. By the time we moved in together, Alex had fully rebuilt. New furniture, new routines, new memories. No ghosts in the closet, literally or figuratively. Sometimes I tease him about his immigration fraud origin story, and he laughs, because he can laugh now. Because it's over. Because it's no longer a wound, it's just a strange chapter in his life. A chapter he survived. A chapter that led him to me. The last time he ever mentioned Lana unprompted was over dinner one evening. He put down his fork, thoughtful. You know, he said, somewhere in Moscow she's probably telling people I'm the villain. I shrugged. Let her. He smiled. I am living my actual American life. She can live whatever version she needs to sleep at night. Then he added something that has become an inside joke between us. And if anyone ever tells me they love me in Russian again, I'm getting a translator. Because that was the truth he walked away with. Trust, but verify. And never underestimate the power of a well-timed translation. He dodged a disaster that could have ruined his future. Instead, it opened the door to ours. Alex once told me it amazed him how a life can collapse quietly. No explosions, no dramatic confrontations, just the slow unraveling of a lie. 3 months after Lana's departure, long after the courts closed her case and her name stopped appearing in government emails, Alex received something unexpected. A letter, handwritten, foreign stamps, postmarked from Moscow. He almost threw it away. He almost didn't open it. But curiosity, just like the day he answered her call, won. Inside the envelope was a single sheet of paper, edges soft, handwriting looping and uncertain. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't even a plea. It was a confession. Alex, I know nothing I say matters, but I want to write this once. Not to ask forgiveness. I do not deserve it, but because I need to tell the truth to someone who once believed in me. Alex read the first line slowly. I came to America for a better life. That was true, but once I met you, I saw a better life could be real if I tried. I liked you, I admired you, but admiration is not love, and I confused those things. She admitted the plan, the boyfriend, the scheme her friends knew about, the way she rehearsed excuses in the mirror. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being the person I pretended to be, and I did not like the real person I saw. You were kind, and I used that kindness like a ladder. Alex swallowed. He kept reading. When you recorded me, I deserved it. It was my fault. Dmitri left me after the detention. He said I was foolish to get caught. That hurt more than the deportation. I see now I was loyal to someone who was never loyal to me. There was a smudge there, a tear maybe, but he wasn't sure whose. I am working at a small cafe now. My parents are ashamed, but I am rebuilding. Not for you, not for Dmitri, not for America, for myself. At the bottom, she signed her name. Goodbye, Lana. No request, no manipulation, just the quiet truth she should have said years earlier. Alex folded the letter once, twice, then placed it in a drawer, not to revisit the past, but because he wanted to remember something important. Even villains are humans who made choices, but victims are not responsible for saving them. When he told me about the letter, months later, he didn't read it dramatically. He didn't expect sympathy. He didn't ask what I thought. He simply said, I'm glad she's finding her own life, but I'm even more glad she's not part of mine. And that was that. No bitterness, no guilt, just closure. Our life together, mine and Alex's, didn't begin with fireworks. It began slowly, cautiously, Two people with bruised histories learning to trust again. The first time he introduced me to someone as his girlfriend, his voice shook a little. Not from fear, from relief. The first time he handed me a house key, he joked, "Don't commit any federal crimes while you have this." I threw a dish towel at him. The first time he told me he loved me, really loved me, honestly, without the shadow of his past hovering in the room, it was at a grocery store parking lot, holding a bag of oranges like idiots. It was perfect. On our 1-year anniversary, he told me something that still echoes in my mind. "Weirdly," he said, "I'm grateful it all happened." I stared at him like he'd lost his mind. He laughed. "No, listen. If she hadn't fooled me, if I hadn't gone through all of that, I wouldn't know how strong I am now. I wouldn't know what I refuse to tolerate, and I wouldn't have met you with clear eyes." I wrapped my arms around him. Because I understood. We are the people we are because of the storms we survived, not despite them. Sometimes, late at night, when the apartment is quiet, Alex will glance at the drawer where Lana's letter rests. He never pulls it out, never rereads it, never clings to the past. He just nods once, to himself, as if acknowledging that chapter. Then he turns back to me. Back to us. Back to the life he actually earned, not the life someone else tried to build on his back. Love, we learned, isn't about blind trust. It's about choosing the right person to trust, over and over again. And in the end, that's the truth that saved him and brought him to me,